All right, we're live. Cool. We'll give it about 5 minutes. Hopefully, it's not too loud because they want to do yard work on July 4th. So, as always, for those that are watching the replay, you could just to um, skip about the 4 to 5 minutes ahead. I'll put it in the little chapter so you can just hit when the session starts, and we'll go from there. If you guys can hear me, let me know and put it in the chat. Sweet. Morning, Brown. Morning, Mike. Let's also can't speak today apparently. Let's also share my screen and let me know if you can see my screen. Morning, Mooch. Whoever was trading today, which hopefully you weren't to get a day off. Nice move down from open. Oh yeah, looks like everything got obliterated. YM with the casual 150 point dump. Nice. I want to consider this a retracement setup. I would want this candle to be more of a bigger candle down than the second one and the slow move down. I'm not going to take this live, but I'll just see how it pans out because it doesn't meet the entire criteria that I would prefer. We'll see. Let's set an alert there. That'll be my entry. And then my stop loss would be here. Let's see which one hits first. Let's do above that. Or not which one hits first. Let's see if it hits take profit first or not. PMG on the hour on ES or YM? I just saw the chat. Oh yeah, definitely not the cleanest PMG that I prefer, but definitely a PMG nonetheless. All those buyers got killed. Yeah, on ES to me this is a cleaner one, but yeah, everybody got killed there for the PMG. For those who don't know what a PMG is, let's find out as we wait for 3 minutes and the last other people come in. Let me bring up my cheat sheet. One moment. All right, so pivot machine gun is pretty much just, it could be bearish or bullish, really doesn't matter. So like pretty much one candle wipes out a bunch of candles in quick submission or succession, I think what the word would be. So on ES, as we can see here, we have all these small candles, and then this big candle just wiped all of them out in one shot. Same thing for YM, killed everybody on these candles and that one candle. Let's check RTY. RTY is not doing much today, which is great because what's it look like for Friday? Failed two up. We'll see. All right, we'll start in a minute. For those who are in here, if you can hit the like button so we can get the likes up so the algorithm can send this to more people, that would be fantastic. No, that brings me to the Creator Studio. That's not the link. All right, let's post this link and then we will officially start. There we go. Brown beat me to it. Thank you, sir. All right. As always, my name is Advent. I am not a financial advisor. Anything you guys see in this video or any of my content is not financial advice. So, with that being said, let's start. So, pretty much today, all we're really going to be going over is like, does the strat work for futures? Which is a question that I've received a lot. And I decided, all right, let me officially answer the question. So for the last 3 weeks or so, I've been trading only strat setups for futures. When I used to trade strat for futures, I use it in conjunction with Fibonacci retracements that Trust taught me. But for people who don't have access to his course or who don't have it, I want to give a more unbiased, um, you know, answer to the question. So, short answer, does the strat work for futures? Absolutely, it does. Now, let me get my mouse. So, what I've noticed personally for futures or the strat with futures is the higher time frames tend to work a lot better than the lower ones. Just because direction is usually clear, and depending what you're trading, like if it's NQ, those pullbacks and those wicks can be pretty deadly. And the thing with the strat is, depending how or where your stop loss is, let's bring up NQ as an example. That's not what I want. There we go. So let's bring up NQ as an example. And let's just say, for the sake of the conversation, let's go on the 15-minute time frame. And I'll give you two examples on what I mean. Let's say for the sake of the conversation, you're more of a stop loss strat user like me in the sense of that I like to use a trigger candle as my stop loss. So let's say if I get in on this hammer 2 up, my entry is going to be here, my target's whatever it's going to be. But let's just say I have my stop loss right under the candle right here, right? Let's say that's a 7.5 point stop. NQ is 20 points per point, or $20 per point. So it'll be 150 bucks more or less that you would lose on that trade if it went against you. Usually when I'm trading options, my stop loss is either under the trigger candle or halfway through the setup candle, which will be like here. So if I were to use the setup candle, 50% of that as my stop loss, then as you can see, my stop loss increases. So this would be $240 loss on NQ if I were to take this. And in some cases, some people use the entire setup candle as their stop. So like all the way down here. Good morning, 506. Thanks for joining us. So in this example, we have a 24-point stop loss, which is about 480 bucks that you would take as an L if you were to use that as your stop loss for futures. So for me, in the last, I think I traded what? In the 3 weeks, it was like 13 to 15 days when I traded strat, and I ended red 4 days out of the 13, 14 days that I traded strat and futures. So the probability is there. The only thing is that you have to be very, very, very specific on the specific setups you take. For example, actionable signals is what I usually tend to gravitate towards when I'm trading the strat for futures, or like like inside bar setups, things like that. Um, if I'm going to take a trade off a lower time frame, I would be more willing to take something like this where the stop loss is a little tighter than let's say if I take like this 312 up. In this case, if you're using the setup candle, or sorry, the trigger candle, your stop loss is pretty wide at 42 points. To me, that's a lot. I would not take that trade. I will leave it alone. But you could always use 50% of the previous candle. And let's just say, the previous candle being this inside bar, and my blue line is the 50. So if I get in here, and then my stop loss could be here, 24 points. It's a lot better, obviously, than the 40 something points from the trigger candle. But again, you have to be relatively picky on the trades that you take. Generally, what I've been trading is RTY, which is Russell 2000 futures. So a trade that I took, I didn't take anything yesterday, but I did take a trade on, what day was that? Tuesday? Yeah, on Tuesday. So I took this 312 up. In this case, obviously, it's, our strat target is all the way up here, like 22, like 20, 23 points, etc. The ATR of RTY is about 33 points. I'm personally not going to hold that entire move. I'm probably going to take profit every 3 to 4 points that it goes in my favor, which is what I did on Tuesday. So once I got in on that 312 up, I took profit at about 3 points in my favor, which was right here. It did end up going almost 7 points, which would have been lovely. But again, I like to take profit every 3 or 4 points in my favor for RTY. That's just what I prefer personally. Of course, you can make it your own, whatever you prefer. And then my stop loss was halfway through the inside bar. Now, of course, if you use like M2K, the micro, you can, half your size, and then, you can up your loss to, let's say, this entire 1 bar candle, which is almost 7 points. So, yeah, that's what I would prefer, or what I was doing. And Brown asked, what have you been trading and what time frame? Oh, yeah. So yeah, pretty much RTY, that's what I've been trading, just because it's a lot less volatile than like NQ, ES, stuff like that. Even YM to me would be way better than NQ, because like, while of course your stop loss is going to be wider, um, the amount dollar-wise loss won't be as much as NQ, and NQ likes to whip back and forth very violently sometimes. So keep that in mind. One thing that I would say is that I kind of treat this the same way I would for options. So in this case for RTY, we gapped up yesterday. So instead of triggering right at this 312 up, it triggered about two points and change above the trigger. Granted, if you want to take that slippage, that's fine. You can do that. I personally prefer to get the setups on the 4-hour time frames when they're gonna, like, when they opens inside and then it triggers us in, which of course isn't that often. So you may not have a trade every day, but again, that's fine. We want to take the better quality trades, not just trading every day just because. In this case, for what was it, Wednesday? Yeah, yesterday on Wednesday. If it did gap up, I treat it the same way as I do for options. I just wait for a TTO, which in this case for RTY never came. It gapped up, went up a good amount of points, and then it died back down, and then it came back up. Sure, let me actually mark this off so we can follow a little closer together. So let's say we went long here. So this is our long above level. Let's go to the lower time frames. So it gapped up, opened up here, came up, came back to entry. And yeah, You could have entered in once it came back to the actual entry. Me personally, if it comes back to entry, especially off an in-force trade, just gonna leave it alone because it's no longer in force. Granted, in this example, you know, you could have bought it when it came back to entry, and then it went up and hit a good amount of points. For RTY, for those who don't know, every point is $50, similar to ES, but there's 10 ticks in 1 point, so it's $10 a tick. But yeah, for me, if it comes back to entry after it gaps up, I'm not gonna get in personally because the times that I have done that, the candle has a chance to become a 3 bar to the downside. In this case, it went 3-1-2 up, but if it comes back to entry and keeps on going down, it could turn into a 3 down, which I'm good on. So yeah, pretty much the 4 hour time frame is where I would take my original entry. If I miss that, I'll probably go on the 5 or 15 minute. So look for like an actionable signal or a TTO. You can use like the 30 minute or 1 hour if you want to as well. But again, be picky of your setups. You don't want to take, let's say, let's see, let's say like this 2 down, 2 up. I'm probably not going to take this trade because the stop loss is pretty wide. Yeah, it's not too much on RTY. It's like 5 points, $250. But let's see this one. Yeah, that one is similar. Again, it really depends what you prefer. In this case, this 2-1-1-2 down. The stop loss is only like almost 2.2 points. I would take that trade to the downside personally. I'll probably limit my loss to like 3 to 4 points on an RTY trade if I'm taking the lower time frames. How often do you get in a trade and it reverses? This freaking heart is like in the way. I can't see the chat fully. How often do you get in a trade and I'm assuming you said and it reverses and you lose? Again, it depends. I'm not sure when you got in here, Vor, but I took about what, 13 to 15 trading days, and I lost 4 days when I traded Strat for futures. Again, I would say probability-wise, if you wanted a percentage, I would say what, 80% of the time I win my Strat trades, and 20% it goes against me and it loses. What I would definitely advise against, actually, let me not say advise since I'm not here to give advice. I'm just here to give my experience. In my experiences, I would, if I'm new to the strat and trading futures, I would shy away from the lower time frames because if you don't even know about the strat, you're probably going to be going against time continuity, and you don't want that. Yeah, Brown. Generally, just the 4 hour triggers because I want to focus on trading like YM the way I do, a little more aggressively. So I don't really want to babysit the trade. But generally, the 4 hour, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour are definitely valid to use. You just have to be more picky on the specific trades you take under the 4 hour, and even for the 4 hour too. Mike, if you're still in here, he's pretty much just been trading strat for futures. You can give your experience and what time frames you prefer that you take the trades on. How do you expect? How long do you expect to be in a trade when using the 4 hour chart? Well, if I'm getting in on a 4 hour time frame, I'm expecting the trade to take 4 hours to pan out. Granted, that's usually not the case almost all the time. Um, I'll give NVIDIA as an example for yesterday. I got in long at about 10:44 Eastern, and it hit the first two targets in about what, 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, I got in here. Yeah, 15 minutes. It hit 3 targets that I mapped out on the 4 hour. So it depends. Sometimes it goes super quick, as we got here on NVIDIA on yesterday. Sometimes it'll take a little longer. It really depends how strong the buyers and sellers are that day, and if there's any like news to propel it, or stuff like that. But generally, even off a 4 hour trigger, I'm probably going to be out within an hour, probably even less than that if it hits my target sooner. Also, whoever got into this chat a little later and you haven't hit the like button, please do. So yeah, so like for Mike, he says that his most used time frame is the 4 hour, the 30 minute, and the 15 minute, depending on the setups that he takes. I think he prefers like the 2-1 setups and 3-1 setups from when we spoke. I think you said like the continuations, you don't really trade, right, Mike? You leave them alone. I'll let you type that out. So yeah, overall, yeah. So yeah, like Mike mentioned, he prefers like the 2-1 setups and the 3-1 setups, stuff like that, um, and like the actionable signals. But yeah, all of that to say, the strat definitely does work. What I would definitely do for those who may want to trade the strat for futures, you can back test like a whole month or so. I had a student do this for strat trade since he trades ES. I don't trade ES. So I had him go back, I think it was like 2 weeks to a month, and check only the 4 hour time frame and all the trades that he would have taken the way I guided him to. And this is what he told me. Give me a sec, let me bring this up. All right, so stats for June based on a 40 tick or 10-point loss on ES. Um, it looks like it's like 10 points hitting target or stopping out. So a 1-1 risk reward. So this was for June. 19 trading days, 10 of them would have been wins, 3 would have been losses, and 6 would have been no trades. You would have ended $5,000 positive and roughly $980 negative. So that would be a net $4,020 just trading one contract of ES using the 4 hour time frame with a 10 take profit or stop loss on either side. So a 1-1 risk reward ratio. Again, with one ES contract. Taking the trade specifically when there's no gap up or down. So it's like when it triggers you in, when it opens up inside on the 4 hour, and then it triggers you in, those are the results. So definitely does work. One thing that I did like that he also mentioned is that there were 6 days of no trades, meaning there were 6 days of like gap up and down where we wouldn't have even entered because it didn't meet our criteria to get into the trade. So you want to be pretty again picky with the way you get into these trades strat wise. Hey Lauren, thanks for being here. Would you recommend setting a 10-point stop loss like that guy instead of using the candle for stops? Again, Vor, that's up to you. I leave that up to the individual, whatever your risk tolerance is. For him, a 10-point stop loss would be in his risk tolerance. So Brown, 5K would be just for the month of June that he back tested ES using the 4 hour time frame on the strat. So it was 10 winning days, 3 losing days, and 6 days of no trades at all, with a 10-point take profit and stop loss. So a 1-1 risk reward each trade, and you would have made $5,000, and then you would have lost $980 on the losing days, and you would have came out profitable with $4,020 minus, of course, the commission and fees. Cool. That's pretty much all I have. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer them. Actually, while you are typing your questions, one thing that I want to note is when it comes to risk reward, just like a little monologue that I want to go on as you guys type in your questions before we wrap up. Um, as long as the profitability is there percentage wise, it doesn't matter if you have a 1-to-1 risk reward, or like a 1.2 or whatever. Because like I used to be there. I used to say the same thing, so I'll take accountability for that. But I hear like a lot of like these like trading influencer people like you need to take a trade like minimum 2 risk reward or 3 risk reward. That way, one winning trade will like make up for 2 losing trades. But it's like realistically, if the probability is there, then it doesn't matter because you're going to lose trades anyway. And I've come across people who they'll go for 2-to-1 minimum, but they'll be losing a lot of trades. So if you take 10 trades and you lose 6 because you want 2-to-1 risk reward, and then you win the other 4, you would barely come out in the green, as opposed to if you just did a 1-to-1 risk reward. Of course, you can mess around with the risk reward based on the setup and the average take profit and stop loss and stuff like that. So, um, experiment, see what works for you, and then go from there. Can you explain for us newbies the price correlation between ES and SPY? Um, this is not really a class for that, but the most that I can say for that is I don't have that answer. I don't know how many points ES equals to $1 of SPY. You'll just have to compare the charts and then see what you come up with. I've never done that calculation. The only thing that I would say is the correlation between ES and SPY, they're the exact same thing. ES is the future, is the S&P 500 futures. So the exact same thing that ES is going to do, the same thing that SPY is going to do. I know people who don't even trade the SPY chart. They just trade the ES chart because it's the same thing. And ES will be like a tiny bit faster, from what I remember anyway, than like SPY, because SPY gets its data from, oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, Brown said, grab the ES, SPX, or SPY indicator on TradingView. It does it for you. There you go. There's your answer. Mooch asked, what kind of capital do you need to day trade futures? Great question. Let's go over it. Let's bring the comparison indicator to be specific that Brown mentioned. Let's see, margin requirements. So to answer your question, Mooch, it depends on the broker that you use. So if you're using Thinkorswim, this is the only thing that I don't like about Schwab / when it used to be TDA. Well, before they acquired TDA, because they did the same thing for Thinkorswim. You need a lot of money or a lot of initial margin to trade futures. They're not lenient in the slightest when it comes to futures trading. They don't want just anyone trading futures on their platform. So for YM, we can see that to trade one contract, you need to have $13,398 in your account for one contract. That's pretty steep. Now, Tradeovate, which is what I prefer to use, for one YM contract, it's only $500 to trade, when the market is open. If you're going to hold the trade overnight, which will be from like 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., you need to have the initial margin in your account, which will be $9,680. But if you're just going to be day trading, you just need $500. What I would say, generally, it's recommended that you have 2 to 3 times the amount for how much you're going to be trading. So if you're going to trade one contract, have at least 1,000 to 1,500 in there, just to account for the fluctuations in your position. Because if you put $500 and then you buy the one contract and then you go negative, like under 500, more than likely the broker is going to auto liquidate your position because you don't have the margin to cover the trade anymore. So you want to have at least 2 to 3 times the amount in the account with how many contracts you're going to be trading. Now, the capital that you need, again, it could be as little as, let's say, 1,000 to as little as 200. If you want to trade like the micros, so if you want to trade micro ES, you just need $50. So you could put in $100 or $200 and start trading it that way and go from there. So if you don't have the 9680 in your account and try to go overnight, more than likely they will margin call you, or they'll just automatically close your position for you at like right before the market closes officially. As another reminder, we got 18 people in here and 9 likes. Whoever hasn't hit the like button, hit the like button, the little thumbs up icon. Yeah, or they'll close your account. Webull recently offered futures. Do you know anything about them? Yes, I use Webull pretty much for like the last. I stopped using it, I think like last year when I went over to like TOS almost exclusively. Um, but I use Webull pretty much from like 2020 all the way to like 2023 from last year. They're great. I haven't traded futures with them since, again, I just use Tradeovate. Um, I can't really tell you on the process. I think you have to apply for futures on Webull. I think their margin rates are closer to TradeStation. So let's say Tradeovate is $500 for, let's say, a regular mini contract. Let's say like ES. Where is this? Uh, so ES is $500 on Tradeovate. I think for Webull it's like 2,000 that you need for one contract. So I can't say how it is trading futures on Webull since I've never done it before. I'll probably apply and then see if I can maybe paper trade it to give you guys a better answer in the future. But yeah, I would personally say, in my opinion, I personally like Tradeovate just because the like the types of trades and orders, or not the type of trades, but the margin requirements obviously are lower. But what I love the most is the ATM or the bracket settings. So I can literally just code the trade to automate itself, honestly, once I input the trade. So let's say for the sake of the conversation, let's say I put an order in for this retracement setup right here. So I have the retracement ATM set. So I'll set the order. I can literally just walk away and the order will do its own thing. My stop loss is set, my take profit is set. And also for my settings, once it goes 20 points in my favor, it auto breaks even the trade. So it automatically moves my stop loss to entry plus 5 points. So if it goes, let's say 25 points for me, and then it comes against me, it'll stop me out at a 5-point gain. So the trade is pretty much fully automated. And then every 10 points after it hits 20 points, it moves my stop loss 10 points by itself. So when it hits 30 points in profit, it'll move my stop loss 10 points up until either my max take profit hits at 50 points, or if it pulls back and then it takes me out either 15 points or 25 points or 35 points in profit, either one. So I don't even need to babysit the trade. I could literally just put this and go about my business. Granted, the market's going to close, I think, like in the next hour. So I have to like close the trade if it doesn't fill. And then when the market reopens, I could just put this trade back and then I could just walk away and go do something else until the alert goes off. Wait, how did you place that order without it triggering? Well, this is just a sell limit, Brown. It's not like it's not like a buy or a market sell. So I'm just doing a limit sell. Do you have a tutorial for this setting up future trades like the bracket orders? If it's like the bracket orders, yes, I do. It's in, hold on. Let me bring this up. So if you go to the YouTube channel, go to playlists, and then if you go to, what do I have? Trainings and walkthroughs. And if you go to how to set up and use a Tradeovate platform, that's if you want to learn how to use Tradeovate. The video that you would look for the ATM or bracket settings is understanding and setting up ATM settings on Tradeovate. I pretty much go through setting up the ATM settings and the different options that you have. And you can like customize this like really in depth, which I love. So let's say, for example, there's a specific setup that I'll use sometimes where I have 3 targets for YM, right? So, well, first you have to have 3 contracts on. So as you can see, my stop loss is the same, this price that comes up here. And then I have 3 different targets that come up on screen, as we can see there. So I'll set the trade, and then my settings on this is super cool. So, or is this the old one? I gotta double check. Oh, no, whoops. Not this one. I think it's this one that I updated for 2. Let me see. Yep, there we go. This is the one. So let's cancel that. Let's go back to 2. So in this specific one, I have my stop loss set for both contracts at $15 loss or 15-point loss. My first contract is going to automatically get trimmed at 15 points. And then once the entire trade hits 20 points in profit for my second contract that I have left, it's going to move my stop loss to break even plus 5 points. And then it's going to move my stop up every 5 points for every 5 points that it moves in my favor until it's my max target at 30 points for this specific setup. So this entire trade is automated. I don't have to do anything once I input the trade. So you can customize this and you can go pretty in depth with the different customization options that they have. I think that's the correct phrase. Can we paper trade through Tradeovate? Yes, you can. I think they give you a month for free, and then you have to pay for the data, or like this, like a trial or something that they give you. I probably I started using Tradeovate maybe like almost 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years ago. So I think when you get like your first, you open the account, they give you like a free 30-day period where they don't charge you any, well, not they don't charge you fees, but they don't charge you for like any market data, and you can paper trade for free. But after that expires, then you have to pay like, for the data and stuff like that. Can you connect Tradeovate to TradingView? Yes, you can definitely connect TradingView to Tradeovate. So if you go to the trading panel, Tradeovate is right there. You can also connect Webull, which is interesting. I think you can just trade shares. I heard you can trade options. I haven't tried since I don't have my account with Webull anymore. Yeah, Tradeovate's there, TradeStation is there, and probably some other ones. What is the risk of trading on a funded prop firm account? The risk is building bad habits and you lose the money that you paid for the evaluation. To me, there is a lot of benefits to trading a prop firm. But the thing that I see that people develop bad habit wise when it comes to prop firms is that they like to over leverage because because the broker will give them a lot of leeway, or not the broker, the prop firm. So let's say, hold on, let me bring this up. Apex. So let's say on Apex, right? Let's say for the 100K account, they let you trade 14 minis or 140 micros. I'm not trading 14 minis, period. The most that I've ever done, even on my 100K account, I use 3 YM maximum, and that's for very specific setups. Usually I'm just trading a 1 or 2 YM depending on the setup, and rarely the 3 if that setup appears. So even though they give you um, these big amounts of contracts, I'm not going to trade that. The way mentally you can think about this is, if the loss is, let's say in this case, 3,000 for the 100K account, you can imagine that you have a $3,000 account. Are you going to trade 14 minis on a $3,000 account? Absolutely not. Actually, let's do math real quick. Let's see what that would be. 14 NQ with 1 point. Let's see. 14 times 20. That's $280 a point on NQ. So that's 3,000. So you're actually, that my math is wrong. 3,000 divided by 280. You are 10 and a half points from blowing your account if you use 14 contracts on a 100K account with NQ. And 10 points is pretty much one candle. So you're either going to pass the account in a candle or you're going to fail it in one candle. So you don't want to do that. Yeah, Bonita mentioned Ninja Trader. Ninja Trader is great as well. They have robust and like really complex in a good way that lets you customize your bracket orders and stuff like that. So another good trading platform. If you use a MacBook computer or like Apple computer, you have to use like a virtual machine to use Ninja Trader. I'm lazy to do that, so I just use Tradeovate. Um, Now that I, of course, have my Windows desktop back down here with me in Florida, of course, I can get Ninja Trader, but I'm not going to bother because I already know how to use Tradeovate, and I'm lazy to put money in Ninja Trader. But yeah, any other questions that you guys have? Yeah, I think the Ninja Trader people bought out Tradeovate, or maybe it was in reverse, one of those two. No, I think Ninja Trader people bought, or Rhythmic bought Tradeovate, if I recall correctly. Actually, I think Apex bought Rhythmic and then they bought Tradeovate. I could be very wrong with that. I remember reading that somewhere. But yeah, like Vor mentioned, same developers. Can I show an example of a TTO setup? Hmm. Do I want to show an example of a TTO even though I have 3 videos on my YouTube? Sure. Actually, let's go on NVIDIA. Uh, this is not the cleanest version. Let me see if I can find a cleaner version. There we go. So here we have SPY on the 15-minute time frame. This is a pretty clean TTO in my opinion. We get the push up. Oh, whoops, that's not what I want. We get the push up, then we get the push back down, and then we get the move back up. So this 3112 you would take right there. I would go long right there. My stop loss would be right under there. So this trade would look something like this. Going long there, stop loss would be there. And then you can look to the left for targets. So target 1 would be, that's not what I want. Target 1 would be there. Target 2 would be like here, and then you can go to the left and so on and so forth. Well, we're at all-time highs, so there's no more previous highs to target. In this case, what I would just do is take profit like every 50 to 75 cents in my favor. But yeah, there's a TTO for you on SPY. Your loss will be 67 cents. And at the peak, it hit about $2 gain if you had any runner positions. So good stuff. If you want a more in-depth explanation and other examples, in the Strat playlist, I have more TTO setups. If you're in the Discord, hold on. If you're in the Discord or whatever Discord group that you're in that I support, this is my group here, but I have a section literally just for TTOs and a bunch of examples that I put in there from my own trades and stuff. So you can look in there as well. So you didn't go back to the 4 hour for targets when you use the 15-minute for entry. You can use the 4 hour for additional targets if you want, but if I'm on the 4 hour, the 4 hour target in this example would match up with that 15-minute target that we had back here. But if I'm on the 15-minute, I'm really just going to be basing my targets based on that time frame. Of course, you can use the other time frame, but what I'm not going to do personally, let's go on IWM. Well, there's no TTO here, so I can't even give you that example. Yeah, I can't really use that as an example. But generally, if I'm on the 15-minute, I'm not really going to bother going on the higher time frames because I'm just going to base my targets off of this. Let's say this is a TTO too, just not the one that I prefer. I like it to look more like a proper triangle as the other example that I gave. But we have everything pushing up and bullish. You get the pullback. You could take this looks like it went 2 up and then 3 down, but you can just get if you got in here and you stopped out under this 2 hammer, you could have taken the 3-2 up instead. And then in this case, you target one, or whoops, that's not the target. One target, another target here. In this case, again, we're all-time highs, so there's no other targets to look at. Just take profit every 50, 75 cents that it goes in your favor for SPY. Can you show your setup on TOS and how you do stops, TPs like you do on Tradeovate, please? Negative, I cannot because I can't do my take profit and stop loss how I do on Tradeovate on Thinkorswim. I wish I could. That would be fantastic. But this is my setup on Thinkorswim. I have 3 charts, futures here. Whatever I'm trading options wise is on the right side, and that's pretty much it. That's my setup. Thinkorswim does have brackets and stuff, yeah. It's just not as advanced as Tradeovate, like with the auto break even and the auto trailing being in like one thing, which is a little annoying. I reached out to them because I do like just doing everything on Thinkorswim, but it is what it is. So when you have active trader up, your template is going to have similar, like, you can set brackets. So if I want, let's say, the trade triggers with a bracket, I would hit that. And then let's say for RTY, I want, let's just do 5 points. And then let's do -5 points. And then, so this is my ATM or bracket order for once I get in, it's going to have a take profit of 5 points or a stop loss of 10 points. And then you can save the template. Shout out to Doc because I didn't even know this. and then you can just name it whatever you want. 5-point TP stop loss. So then when you're going to put in a new trade, you don't need to type all that stuff in. You can just hit the template, 5-point take profit stop loss, and then you're good to go. That's it. You're done. Easy stuff. In terms of how to do your stops, is it all manual? Well, usually when I'm trading options, I just market buy and market sell because I'm only trading one thing, so I can manage it more effectively. Otherwise, yeah, you can do like a bracket order if you want. So like when you get in the trade, you can go back to the position. Um, let's see. So what you can do if you want, I don't do this because it's too slow, but let's get rid of all this. Let's delete this. So you can just, let's say you want to do a bracket order for an option. You can just right click, buy custom. If you're going to buy the contract with OCO bracket, and then you can set your take profit and stop loss and then your entry all at the same time. But that's too time consuming. So I just market buy. And if I don't want to babysit it, then I'll go back into it, right click on it, and then set the OCO bracket order, like a take profit and stop loss. But usually I'm just buying market. And when it's my target, I'm selling market since I'm actively looking at it. But if you can't actively look on it, once you get into the trade, then you go back into it, modify, um, and add the OCO brackets and stuff like that. Cool. All right. Any last questions before we wrap up? Oh, Kia, I just saw your question. I forgot to respond to it. Do I notice any difference using TradingView desktop versus web version, like lag? Um, Sometimes, like I haven't used TradingView to actively trade in a while. I only use TradingView when I'm teaching you guys or I have like these videos. I just use Thinkorswim. When I did used to use TradingView, like either the web browser or the desktop version, I will get lag here and there, especially when I'm inputting trades, which is why I like kind of moved away from placing trades on TradingView. Um, but I would say I know both would lag here and there, but I haven't used the web version in a really long time. I just use the desktop version personally. Definitely will, Brown. I'll give some more feedback or some, more data as I continue doing it for the next month or two. All right. Any last questions before we wrap up? I got a whole bunch of nothing to do today. Absolutely, Mooch. Thanks for coming by. Well, sounds like there isn't anything else. Oh, are you doing this on a personal account or you got a prop account? For RTY, I'm doing this on the prop account for the strat. Oh yeah, Witchblade. My bad. I forgot to answer your question. Tradeovate does have mobile. Um, I personally, specifically, what I would say this Witchblade, um, it's very rare that I would place a trade on mobile for Tradeovate, because like I'm limited to my ATM settings. Like they don't have it as, expansive as I have like here, like with all my ATM settings pre-filled. They just have like take profit and stop loss and like auto break even, but they don't like I can't even put an auto trail on mobile as far as I know. It's just like very, not to say it's bare bones, but the more like advanced options that I want for my ATM and bracket orders are not available on mobile from what I've seen. I could be wrong, but from my experience. Yeah, and like Brown mentioned, it's pretty like flimsy and clumsy. If you want to trade futures, you want to trade on a computer because if you do something wrong, it can be challenging to get out of the trade really quickly. I'll tell you that from experience. And you never ever want to use the browser version of Tradeovate on your phone. Granted, I was using a prop firm for this and not my own account, thankfully. But as I was inputting the trade, it opened up like the trade that I was inputting that I didn't even hit send, it opened up that trade. I didn't even execute the trade. I was still modifying the stop loss and take profit, and it opened up the thing for the trade. And then unknowingly, Apex was like, oh, well, because of user error, we can't give you this money back that you lost in this trade. I'm like, bro, I didn't even open the trade. They're like, well, the app is glitchy or the browser is glitchy on mobile, so you want to use the computer. I'm like, so you're admitting that the app is glitchy, but it's my fault that the trade opened by itself. Like, make it make sense. Needless to say, they never gave me the money for that trade back, which is annoying, but it is what it is. That was my fault for trying to place a trade on mobile or the browser instead of my computer, trying to experiment. Yeah, definitely lesson learned. Um, yeah, don't trade futures in bed. I'll tell you that. But yeah, you mainly want to trade futures on the computer. I know some people who just trade it on their phone because due to the nature of their work, they can't use a computer. They make it work for them, but they're very very picky on the trades that they do take, and they have time to input the entire trade. Since you use your ATM brackets, your stops TPs are based off that and not strat candle entries exits. So remember, my ATM settings here are specifically designed for very specific setups that I take. For strat, I'm not going to be doing like specific ATM settings because it's always different every trade, you know. Hey, thanks, Bonita. Appreciate you for dropping by. Enjoy your day as well. So let's say for RTY, right? This one is what, 20 and 20. So what I'll do is I'll get into the trade. Let's say for the sake of the conversation, let's say it's the 1 hour time frame, and I'm gonna get in a short down here. I'll just do like a stop order, and then I'll just quickly just move my brackets on screen to whatever the targets may be. So if the next strat target is down there, as we can see right there, I'll just move my bracket order immediately accordingly, because I don't have time to set a bracket order specifically designed for that strat setup, because it's going to be so different every single time. So I'll just put like, the sell stop. If I'm going to go short, cool. The first target is going to be there. The stop loss is going to be halfway through the candle or whatever the stop loss is. And then that's it. I just wait until it triggers me in and then adjust it accordingly. If you use Webull, you can drag the bracket, like you can do bracket orders on options, and you can do that on Thinkorswim as well. The only thing for Thinkorswim is that, let's say if you're using a setup like this, let's bring in, not green, let's bring in blue. Let's say if I'm in this NVIDIA call, If I recall correctly, I think they updated it where, like, let's say you get in a call here. Actually, let's see something. Let's buy custom. Our stop is going to be, let's say, 1. Yeah, let's actually, I don't think this would work since the market's closed, but let's try. Oh, cool. So your order would literally be here on the chart, and you can just drag and drop it and then just adjust the trade to whatever you want. So you can do the same thing even for options. And this works on Thinkorswim, as you can see that I'm doing now. And on Webull as well, you can do this exact same thing on the chart itself. The only thing, though, is that you need to have the option contract chart up. You can't do this on the stock price, because as you can see, it kind of mimics it where the price would be based on the stock price, but you still want to be looking at the contract price for this to get a better idea of what price you want to sell it at or whatever it may be. So as always, as my second mentor always told me, you want to learn your trading platform in and out. So if you don't know about these features, definitely do your research, because that one little thing that I just showed you guys right now can help a lot of you. I'll tell you that. All right. We've been here for an hour and 1 minute. Before we wrap up, what was everybody's biggest takeaway from today's session? Everything? Nice. You can do okay with using the strat to trade futures. Absolutely. You can do very well trading the strat with future. You just have to be very picky. Um, hey, Shmo, appreciate you for stopping by. Yeah, we'll have more lives. If you are new to the channel, Shmo, I have a trade recap every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So we can go over my trades, whatever trades you take, stuff like that. But yeah, the biggest thing um, when it comes to, thanks, Kia, I appreciate that. When it comes to trading strat and futures, you just want to be very picky on the trades that you take. You don't want to take every single one. So, definitely back test, see which setups and timeframes might work better for you, and then from there, paper trade for a while. Practice, and then once you get good data that you're getting proper results, then go in live with your money or a proper count or whatever you want to do. Because if you go in live immediately, you start losing trades, you might get discouraged from even continuing because you're losing real money, and you're creating that mental trauma where your brain's like, whoa, I don't like this. So always paper trade, back test, and yeah, once you're ready, go live and enjoy yourself. Yeah, trading RTYs inside bars. And on some days, you'll get a really good move. Let's go back to RTY real quick, actually. So, what was? Oh, it was this day. It was Tuesday. This day was like perfect. So we opened up before it even triggered, which is like beautiful. And then we go short right here. Of course, you could use the 50% of the previous candle of like this. Actually, let's get the exact measurements. Where's my fibs? All right, yep. All right, perfect. I'm already on. I'm on the money. So the stop here would be, was that 6 points, almost 7 points, about what was that, $340? Yeah, $340 loss. And so we would have gotten in here as soon as it broke on this 212 down. It only went against you when it came back in about a point and change. That's like what, almost like $80, $90, if that. And then it hit first target at 4.30 or 4.3 points. You can use the bodies if you want to, whatever you prefer. But the first target, wick wise, 4.30 as $230 for the first target. It didn't hit the second target per se. It did hit the body of this candle, but not the wick. But still, that's 12.2 points. That's $620 that you would have made on this trade on RTY. So this is why I prefer when it triggers me in before it gaps up or down. And I would gladly wait. Like even on this day here, this 212 up, and even this 212 down, it gapped down, and then this one gapped up. So I wouldn't have even touched any of these days there. So you want to be relatively picky with the specific trades that you take. Oh, even here, like this 2 down, 2 up, 2 down off the shooter candle, it went against you by what? 7 points. That's 7.30. And then it died about 20 something points. That's about 1,000 and change for per contract. So, your stop loss can really depend on your, whatever you're looking for. 3 candles, I would definitely take on the 4-hour time frame. Ro, the micro for RTY is M2K. So micro Russell 2000. So M2K. If you go to in my Discord in the educational center, if you go to futures guide, everything is laid out here, like, all the platforms, contracts, etc. So I need to become RTY's newest member, you say? Hey, Omari, you live your best life. You know that I left NQ. I'm on with YM now. If they ever add one of those volatile tech stocks to YM and it becomes like NQ, I'm 100% RTY forever. But yeah, RTY, definitely love it. Usually with people that I work with and they're new to like trading, especially options, I have them like practice with IWM because it doesn't move as volatile as like SPY or QQQ, stuff like that. And RTY is the futures of IWM for those who don't know. So again, the pullbacks aren't going to be as intense and it moves a little slower, so you can learn better and then, see moves and stuff like that. How do we get on your Discord? Fantastic question, Witchblade. Let me post the link. Give me a second here. All right, the link is in the, hold on, not yet. The link is in the chat that I just posted. It's also in the description of this video. So if you click on like more to like expand the description, if you go to where it says join the Cerulean trading group below, you can click on my WAP link. And it'll give you the link to join the group. It's only $25, one-time payment to join. And everything will be in there. So when you get to the WAP page, it'll be the trading group one, $25 to join, one time. It's not recurring. One thing that I will remind everybody is that starting January, my group is going to be recurring. So whoever's not in the group and you get in after January, you're going to be paying that subscription. So whoever gets in prior, you'll be grandfathered in to the group forever for free. Cool. Well, it's going to say 147 because it's going to default. So when you get on the page, it's going to default to the options course. You have to select the trading group. So when you first get on the page, it's going to default to the trading course. You have to get this specific one. The course has the Discord group bundled into it as well. Also, PSA, because I've been seeing this a lot, whoever signs up for the Trader Circle coaching, the free group coaching through here, when you get access, let's see. When you get access, it's going to give you this link. You can, I think as a user, let me preview as user. So as a user, you're going to click on this link. It's going to take you to Calendly, which from here, you're going to sign up for the group coaching. Because if you just signed up or like just got access to the link from my WAP, you're not signed up for the class. So people are like, hey, you know, when is the class? What's the time? What's this? What's that? You have to click on the link to go to Calendly, then you would click on the next date, and then you would sign up, put in your information, X, Y, and Z, and the follow-up email that this, once you schedule, is going to send you another email with the Zoom link that we'll all be using. So if you're just getting in here and thinking you're going to be in the group call, you're not. You have to click on this link. The last thing that I will say is not to be mean or not to be a jerk, but reading is fundamental, people. All the instructions are here. You must attend to get your questions answered, because people will join in and think they're going to get free game for nothing. You have to at least show up. At least give me that dignity for you to show up to get your questions answered, because I'm not going to answer your question if you're not there. And like I mentioned, after clicking the link, the registration class link is going to show up. Now, of course, if it doesn't work for you, just message me, email me, and then I'll send you the link directly. Or on most of the descriptions for my YouTube videos, what to show it here? Hold on. On the description, let's say like on my YouTube, on this specific video and other ones, there's a link tree that I put in there. The link tree has the direct Calendly link to sign up for this. So all that to say, reading is fundamental. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, everybody. Any last biggest takeaways before we wrap up? Does your Discord give live alerts? I do not give live alerts. I do not alert at all. The most that I do is give my watch list and the same trades you guys see on my watch list, because people keep asking me, hey, Advent, can you alert when you get in? I'm not doing that. Everything is here. This is the watch list. The exact price I'm getting in here, that's exactly, or the price that you see here, that's what I'm getting in. On NVIDIA for Friday, or not Friday, for yesterday, let's go back to NVIDIA. Let's see what I have for NVIDIA. Long above 123.06. So as we can see for NVIDIA, it didn't break that high until 1044. As soon as it broke that high, I market bought calls. That's the most I'm going to alert you guys, because the way I teach and the way I like to handle my group is self-sufficiency. I'm here to build self-sufficient traders. Obviously, if I'm working with you, you know, we'll go step by step. But I like to build self-sufficient traders because my first mentor never taught me that, and that caused more damage than good for my trading journey. So I want you guys to be self-sufficient. If I say I'm going long, I'm going to go long at that price, period. So, and then, like I always tell people, I'm getting in off those triggers. If it gaps up or down, I'm looking for a TTO. That's all I do. So when people ask me to alert, I'm not going to alert anything because my exact process, I've told you guys millions of times. You just have to study and put in the time to understand it and grasp it. Obviously, if you don't get it, you can book a session and we can go more in detail. But again, my entire process is there. I'm not going to alert anything because every time I alert stuff, it distracts other people. And obviously, me being in a leadership role, people tend to stop what they're doing and look at what I'm doing. And I don't like that. I like people to focus when they're trading. That's why my group is quiet compared to other groups. That's personally how I prefer it because that tells me everybody's focused on their charts and everybody's trading by themselves. So the exact triggers you guys see on my watch list, that's what I'm doing. And as you already know, I'm doing an in the money or at the money contract. That's it. So don't ask me what contract I'm getting into. Don't ask me when I'm getting into. Don't ask me to tell you when I'm getting in because the watch list tells you when I'm getting in. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Appreciate you guys for listening. And also, just know that this is all out of love. This is not me being a mean or jerk or because I hate you guys. This is Vor. I'm not answering that question because you're going to have to dig through it through all my videos. Look at the Trader Circle videos. Sign up for the free group coaching if you want to ask specific questions like that, because I'm not giving free game on the exact process as more than I've already done. So the expiration date that I get, go through all the Trader Circle videos because I'll say this, my exact process and exactly how I trade is in my YouTube channel right now. Literally everything I do is in my YouTube channel. You just have to put in the work and view it and search for it. I don't really want to go off on a rant again about putting in the work and people being lazy and wanting to get their free lunch, but I'll keep it at that. My entire process is on my YouTube channel. You just have to dig for it. If not, you can book a session and pay for it because that's to be fair. I put thousands of hours into this and people want the answers for free. So at least be fair, at least for me, or if you want my exact answers and exact guidance, you can book a session. Or you can go through all the videos. Cool. I'm going to stop talking now. Any last questions that don't involve my process and that don't involve coaching stuff? Or any other big takeaways or the biggest thing that you learned in today's session? I'm going to label this chapter Advent Goes on a Rant. Oh, man. Love you guys. Again, it's all out of love. I just want you guys to succeed. But I also want you to put in the effort. Because when people ask me questions that I've gone over a multitude of times, I get a little annoyed. Me personally, not anything that you're doing, just me personally. Like I get a little annoyed because if you've watched all the content or if you've put in the work, then again, it's all there. I don't trade yet, but I'm hyped to back test and learn. Shmo, how long have you been trading? Like, did you just start? And what are you looking to trade? Options, stocks, crypto, forex, futures, etc. Let me make sure all my trades are closed on Tradeovate. Last thing I need is to get an alert that a trade went off and then they fail my account. All right. Hopefully it's not too delayed for you. But yeah, Shmo, how long have you been trading and what are you looking to trade? I'll give it another minute. If I don't see nothing in the chat, we'll call it here. All right. Looks like there isn't anything else. Appreciate you guys for stopping by and listening to me talk as always. Um, oh, there we go. I bought in 2020. I have shares. I want to trade stocks and options. Well, if you're gonna be trading stocks and options, or I guess options really, since that's usually the next step. Um, I'm not sure how much you know. Candlestick Bible is a pretty good basis for strategy. Just go over the strat material that I have on my channel here. Um, you only have $20 in available trading funds. All right, this is what I would recommend, not as a friend or as another human being. Um, paper trade as long as you can, and once you get consistent paper trading, I'm not sure how old you are, but work more if you need to. I would personally start an options account with $500 and focus on IWM, one BTE, in the money or at the money contracts, and slowly build the account from there. But yeah, you want to, because $20 is not going to get you anywhere, especially with options, even with stocks. You're going to be there for like years growing that to like $22. Well, to be fair, you can grow that pretty quickly with options, but you need to be very picky on your trades and with very specific tickers that I'm not going to go into. But yeah, what I would say for you, Candlestick Bible for basics. Skip the strategy part. Just go to my YouTube strat playlist for strategy, and yeah, just paper trade as you just put more money in your account. I would start with $500. Risk management, all that good stuff. Try to attend as many live classes that I have here or in the free group coaching or whatever. You could also, I have the options course, $147. That would speed up your learning curve really quickly as well as another option. But yeah, man, just show up, study, and you'll do great. Other than that, I'm officially going to end it now because if you guys keep me here, I'll speak for another hour. So thank you guys for coming by. Appreciate you for listening and asking your questions. Of course, for those watching the replay, definitely ask or comment anything in the comments below just to help the algorithm and get this video out to more people that may need to hear this stuff. Other than that, the same link that you guys used to watch and attend this live is going to be the same link to watch the replay. So keep that in mind. The last thing that I'll mention that for those who are new, if you're going to my channel on mobile or even home, on desktop, sometimes it won't show the most recent lives that I had. So you have to go to the live tab and it'll show all the lives that I've had here. Because on mobile, I don't think it shows any of the lives on the home page for whatever reason. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm going to end this now. Enjoy your 4th of July, your holiday, everybody. Try to enjoy your day and not be stuck on charts. And we need a breather sometimes. Can't be on this all the time. It's like another job. You need a little mental clarity and break. Anyway, enjoy your day, everybody, and I will talk to you guys on the internet. Peace.